Okay, good morning and welcome to the Dynodaze video. This is a beautiful white DC2 with a Kswap. And recently at Dynodaze, we've made a fuel system for this, or certainly rectified an issue that we had, and also fitted an Acuity throttle position sensor. Basically fixed the problems that this car was having. Now, obviously, that we're already plugged into it, we can see the map and we can see that we can make improvements. Now, not necessarily improvements for power, but certainly tidying up the timing tables, making sure that the fueling is bang on. So whilst we might not end with more power on this, we know that we're going to improve the car's drivability. So let's get cracking. Let's see what she sounds like. Rich, explain what we've been doing with this DC2.
We haven't done a video on this so far, have we?
No, it's been... We've actually had this DC2 with a Kswap in a few times because it's had a few little running issues that we've not been able to resolve in the same sitting that the vehicle has been in.
No,
we've had to order a part or something.
Yeah. So it came in initially for a power run on a Saturday, didn't it? So we did a power run, made good power, like 258 brake, 257 brake, somewhere around there. So a Kswap, obviously, with all the cams and all the bolt-on mods on it. He said he got the car and it was done, and then said he was on part throttle, it was cutting out on him, so he was having problems where it was surging and cutting out and being a pain and whatever. So we had a quick look at it and said, well, it looks like the fuel system's piped in wrong. It goes out from the fuel tank to the fuel pressure regulator, through the fuel pressure regulator, out to the fuel rail, which only had one port on it, so it was just going in, and then out back to the tank from the bottom of the fuel pressure regulator. Well, I said, well, the fuel pressure is never going to get to the rail because it's returning before it gets to the rail, if you understand me. So we redid the fuel system and ran it. So obviously it's fuel pump off the fuel line up to the fuel rail, out of the fuel rail back to the fuel pressure regulator, then down out of the bottom into the back of the tank.
Yeah, no.
He's fine, leave him. I want him working.
Oh, okay.
It's not affecting the video that badly, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when we ran it back properly, so we had got control over the fueling, because what it leads to is obviously when we were trying to run more fuel pressure, it was just bleeding off. It wouldn't make more pressure. So we done it, ran it.
Because that's the obvious sign, isn't it? It won't make more pressure.
It won't make more pressure. We set it up, got the fuel pressure correctly, ran it. I thought it was obviously running lean, or it probably had a reason. It was at the time running lean anyway. So anyway, we did that. It was then obviously got more fuel. It was obviously back to where it sort of should be, but still had this cutting in and out. Anyway, it ended up being the throttle position sensor. Had an Acuity one on it. I think basically the contacts inside had worn out, so you could almost get 30% throttle before it actually did anything. So obviously at that point the ECU thinks it's accelerating, you're not putting the throttle input in, so it shuts the injectors off, which was what all the surging was and what all these problems were. So the vehicle had to go away again. Obviously we had to order a sensor. We didn't have one in stock, so he took it away. We've then fitted the new sensor this morning, which has alleviated that problem completely. But now, obviously, because there's been hardware changes, certainly with the fueling and more fuel, and obviously fixed the throttle position problem, and it needed a map obviously to complement the work that we've then done.
Yeah.
So we've mapped that. The vehicle was already previously mapped. There was a few bits in there that I personally wasn't happy with. The RPM scale seemed to be a bit all over the place for some reason, so I've edited that. Fueling at low end was lean on part throttle, and then ridiculously rich in VTEC, you know, on part throttle. So we've worked on a lot of that and dealt with that. The trouble is with a conversion car as well is on a normal car, it would use the O2 sensor to obviously to correct that. So even if the map's a little bit rich or a little bit lean, the O2 sensor will do its job. The problem with this is it's a conversion car. So a lot of the looms are all American, which are all wideband. These are on narrowband, so they don't work. And then obviously at that point we have to go in and then run it on the map and not on the O2 sensor up to 56% throttle, which we would normally do. So you have to spend more time on the map, on the cruise fueling and stuff to make sure that's in the ballpark, because obviously it's only running on the map. There's no sensory information to make adjustments.
That's why it took so long this morning.
That's why it took so long this morning.
I've missed so many emails.
Yeah, we've done. We've also done obviously timing, and we've done on that. We've also done cam timing. We've made no more power on this car this morning. The peak powers remain exactly the same because it was mapped and it made peak power before. Where we've made some gains in the mid-range and sort of through the graph. I would say somewhere between sort of 2 and 5 brake horsepower, almost consistently through, which is good considering the car was already mapped and making good power.
Yeah.
But the main thing for me is drivability. That's what we've concentrated on with this car. The customer says
longevity.
Yeah, longevity, and it's horrible to drive at low speeds and just doing normal driving. If you're doing 40, 50, 70, 80, you know, it's that sort of driving that he said it was taking the fun out of it for him. So I believe we've done all that. I think that that's all sorted. We've gone through those steps on the dyno and checked them. So yeah, I think it's ready to leave. Shall we have a look at the graph?
Come on, let's have a look at the graph. Okay, so here we go. As you can see, red line is as she came in, blue line is as she leaves. As Richard says, we've made power across the rev range, but peak power remains the same. And we finished today on 257 brake horsepower, which is 215 at the wheels. Anything to add, Richard?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it.
Yeah, there she is. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, guys. Like and subscribe and all that jazz, and we will see you on the next one. Won't we, Rich?
We will indeed.
We will indeed. Jedi, stop making so much noise.
Boy, I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.